Ice on 3, 1, 2, 3, ice!
Ready. Okay.
Energy on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Gaige Courtney Rocket Football Coaches Show. Coach Courtney, you're one of, I think, 4 Rocket coaches to win their first game right out of the chute. Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's nice to get that first one under your belt always. So this week we go to Madisonville in a game against a 4A school, a team we've played twice in history. We've lost both times, only scored once when we played them those times. That was back in 2011, 2012. They're coached by a University of West Kentucky University All-American. He was a lineman down there. Coach Price was, and he's been over at Madisonville quite a while. Been the head coach 2 or 3 years, but they didn't win but one game last year. So and they're winless right now, and they have a 3-game losing streak at home because they only played a couple of home games last year, and this dates back to 2019. So they hadn't won a game at home. And wow, they'll be gunning for us, won't they?
Yeah, I'd say, just outside looking in, they'll be expecting to get one this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, a 4A school against a 1A school, typically going in.
Right. They're just the mindset of those bigger schools. They're going to see Little Courtney County in their schedule, and they're going to mark it up as a victory. And I understand it. They're just going to think they're bigger, faster, and and be able to get this one. I'm sure this is one on their schedule that they feel like they could break that streak with.
The Maroons have lost both their games this year. They opened with Union County and lost 28-0, and then lost last week against Caldwell County in a game that they were ahead going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they were in control of that game till late. I believe 14-3 in the fourth quarter. Had a pick 6 that went against them, and it completely turned the tides of that game. They were in control.
And, of course, Caldwell County wins at 25-14. Take a moment just to recognize some of our sponsors. We appreciate our digital partners that make all this possible. Of course, Whitetail Properties, Frazier Law Firm in Marion, Moments in Time Pictures, that's Reese Baker, and Hodges Sports and Apparel. Don't forget, moms, go pick up your shirts if you hadn't already. And Riley Tool and Machine, who's the voice of the Rockets, Todd Riley.
That's right, does a good job.
Yeah. Coach Courtney, talk about this Madisonville offense. They run a spread, and what do you see by looking at the film on them?
Yeah, and you mentioned that they're 0-2. They're a good 0-2 team. They're physical. They're fast. All over the field, really. They'll run spread. They'll run some I formation and want to kind of run it down your throat. They're kind of a multiple set. Kind of do a little bit of everything. They play 2 quarterbacks. One's more of a runner. One more is a thrower. They play 2 running backs that they get a split carries to, basically, both big and physical. And they're big in the trenches. They're a big offensive line. We'll definitely be tested. With this, their speed and physicality. They're fast on the outside. They like to just stand up and throw it on the backside of trips or whatever, just to get one-on-one matchups with their best and fastest players. So, we'll definitely have our hands full all the way across the board. They're physical and fast.
The McAdoo boy, number 26, he's a big load, and the film that I saw didn't look like the defense was doing a good job of tackling him. So you really got to do a good job against him. He's big.
Yeah, he's definitely somebody we've talked about all week. He's big, he's fast, he's physical. Like you said, every film I see, every time I see him getting the ball, there's never one guy taking him down. When he doesn't have the ball and there's screen games and things like that, he blocks his tail off. So he plays the game the right way. He's a really good player for him.
Mm-hmm. Chris Price is their other running back that gets a lot of carries.
Yep.
He's a little quicker, maybe.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They're both big. They're both big and physical. They both break tackles. Actually, I'd say 26 is probably more elusive. They play him more at receiver and stuff like that. When they go into anything else, kind of 9 works as the fullback and 26 works as the running back if they're in the I formation or something like that. So 9's probably to me the more physical of the backs.
Mm-hmm. And I know 26 got caught in the backfield, kind of reversed the field against Caldwell and come all the way back around in big games.
Yeah, it just shows you what type of athleticism. In high school, that usually does not work, and he was able to make it work. So he's a pretty good athlete.
Yeah, you can see that on some of the clips we're showing you. The quarterback, you said it's kind of a competition. The White Coleman seems to be the one that maybe plays a little bit more.
Yeah, the junior, number 7, is the Coleman kid, correct? Yes, he seems to be winning the competition, and that's just the outside looking in. They play 2 quarterbacks. I do know that. I don't know exactly what's going on, and they're a little different. 7's a thrower, probably the better thrower. They'll both run it, but 7's a better thrower and 10's probably the better runner.
And they spread it around a little bit too. A lot of guys caught balls.
Yeah, they do, and they bring kind of like us. They rotate in at receiver. It's kind of hard to tell. You know, they're all fast and smaller guys in a lot of places, and kind of identical. It looks like they can sub out without losing a whole lot. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's hard to keep, especially in their passing game where they're going. They have a lot of weapons out there.
Mm-hmm. Now they've thrown some interceptions this year, and we did a pretty good job last year covering pass.
Yeah,
I mean last week I should say.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that we can get after the passer, and I hope that our DBs can cover.
I know they've had at least 3 interceptions, and the stats. The stats on the KHSAA website were incomplete, so they didn't have the Cobble game. But I watched some of that and saw one.
I know that was a big part of their game last week is throwing one, so I'm sure their coaches are all trying to get that fixed, turning the ball over.
Yeah. We'll take a moment to recognize some more of our partners. Farmers Bank and Trust, since 1899, been your bank here on Main Street in Marion, Kentucky. Deer Lakes Golf Course, home of the Rocket Golf Team. First United Bank on Main Street in Marion, and La Delicia Mexican Restaurant out in Darvin Plaza. Coach Courtney, defensively, what are we looking at against Madisonville?
Our defense.
Their defense.
Their defense. Same thing, really, as their offense as far as just overall. They're fast at their DB positions, and they're physical in the box. Their linebackers and defensive line are bigger and physical than we are, probably. Or not more physical, shouldn't say that. But they're definitely bigger, and they're definitely physical. So just overall the same type. They're big and athletic.
Where would you pinpoint their key strengths?
Probably in the box. With their linebackers play aggressively downhill, and then they also have really big nose tackle. I believe he's number 64, who demands a lot of attention down there. Really disrupts some things, and even their defensive ends, they play a couple of them, but they all go really hard. They play hard. They play really hard.
Without giving up any strategy, what are you looking to exploit? Of course, Luke Crider had a big half last week, which would have been a big game for anybody. It was the second best game he's ever had at quarterback, and he just played 2 quarters. So what can we do against his defense? You seeing some things we can do to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that we can stay balanced and run the ball and throw it, but we have to be able to run the football just all the time, and it's no secret at any time. But any high school, I feel like, or at least 90% of them, you're going to have to establish the line of scrimmage. We're going to have to be able to block them up front. That's their strength. But for us to be successful, we're going to have to run the ball and then see what happens in the back end. I mean, I believe we'll be able to throw it, but we'll definitely have to establish the run first.
Mm-hmm. Well, we did a pretty good job of running the ball last week. At times, just to be frank, it was kind of tough to get a good look.
Yeah.
Our running backs had a lot of success. Gatton Travis got his first start and almost 100 yards for him. And then Levi Piper came in there in the second half. It's still against their starters.
Yeah.
And he had about 40 yards, I think, rushing. So we're going to see Levi Piper's number called a little more.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. He's been one that's right on the cusp there of getting to play. I believe he's almost there, and one of those younger guys that can step in and start making a difference for us both on offense and defense, special teams too. So, yeah, we'll see. Levi's been doing a good job, though. And all those backs, they all had a big night. Rowan Perkins, I don't know if that was his first varsity touchdown or not either, but they both were able to get one, him and Levi. So, yeah, we'll still see split action, several guys carrying the ball this week.
Mm-hmm. And Preston Morganson and Caleb Nesbitt, a couple other guys that you can put back there and run football.
Yep.
I know you've still got some injury and illness. We'll talk a little bit about maybe we're going to see some different backs and stuff this week, I guess, just to try to make up for some things. Not talk exactly about who's out, but we could see some different guys.
Yeah, according to what happens, and we don't know exactly yet. Yeah, there could be multiple backs or different backs that we haven't saw, and just kind of be creative back there in the backfield as we can.
But you're ready for that. You've got a lot of guys that's worked.
I think so. That's what I told some of them today, that it's really next man up. And I said it before, I think, on here. But this year, you just never know. And one day, everything can change, so you better be ready. And I think those guys are.
Mm-hmm. Want to recognize another handful of our sponsors. Ellington Detailing, who's Ronald Ellington, former a dad of one of your former greats, Ian Ellington. I think Ian's getting better too. I think he's doing a lot better after his motorcycle wreck. Homestead Auction Realty, another dad of a former player, Xander Tabers, down at Murray, him and Tyler. And Murray opens this week. They're red shirts, walk-ons down at Murray. And excited to see them with the Murray State Racers this week. Racers are supposed to, they're pick number one.
Yeah,
pick number one in OVC. It's been a long time since that's happened. Seaplant Federal Credit Union and H&H Home and Hardware. Coach Courtney, what are the keys to winning this game? Last week you talked about it was turnovers, and against Webster you were +1. I believe that's right, +1.
Yeah,
+1.
I think so.
Yeah, +1 against Webster. But you had those penalties, 130 yards in penalties. What was practice like cleaning that up?
Honestly, I didn't go too hard on them. We watched the film, broke it down, watched each of the penalties, and just talked about the ones we'll live with and the ones we won't, and hopefully why these are happening. And maybe we're trying to take a different approach to it. If it doesn't work, if we come out and do it again, we'll just run them to death, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you talked on the podcast earlier in the week about the approach is just really work on it. Talk to kids about what they're doing wrong, and coach them up.
Yeah, try to coach those penalties because, like I said, our kids are disciplined. I believe that. That's what I told them. I believe we're a very disciplined team. So why are these happening? At some point, we got to start coaching why these things are happening. So we'll see. It's a different approach. I don't know. I've never did it before, so I don't know how it's going to work. But we'll see if it helps this week.
Well, it can't get much worse.
No.
If we make 130 yards and have 130 yards and flags this week, we'll be in trouble.
For a long night.
We'll be in for a long night. I know you have worked hard to clean that up. But what are some of the keys to winning this football game?
I think first off we got to clean those things up. Number one, from the mistakes from last week, we just got to play a clean game. I feel confident about our guys and being able to make plays and all that, but we can't have penalties. We can't turn the ball over. We can't put ourselves behind the sticks. We can't have mental mistakes and block the wrong people. We just got a lot of people say you can't lose. You got to focus on not losing before you can win. And those things, we got to take care of those things, just the things that we can control, the simple things. And then I believe it will be okay.
Well, you got behind the sticks several times last week, but it was a little different situation.
Right. If we get behind the sticks this week, it will not be that way. We'll be in a whole lot of trouble. They'll bring pressure. They'll blitz us. They'll lock down cover. It won't be that easy to get out of that trouble that we were in.
Yeah. They have, in their secondary, a lot better athletes than what we saw last.
Yes. Just overall, they're just bigger, faster, stronger, everywhere. But they have really good athletes on the back end of their coverage.
Let's recognize some more of our sponsors. Full Body Fitness Studio, that's Serena Dickerson. Par 4 Plastics, Magnolia Bank, and Mulligan's Pizzeria and Pub. Coach Courtney, tough week losing Tyler Belt, who you've talked about a number of times. Tyler, we know now that he has an ACL and a meniscus problem, and I think pretty bad injury. He's even going to go. They've referred him up to Lexington to a doctor. It's pretty tedious surgery.
Yeah, it's tough. He was doing great for us, and not only that, obviously we love him as a young man, and just don't want to see that or have him go through that. But we're all just doing what we can, pray for him, be here for him if need anything, and just try to keep him lifted up. He'll get through it, and he'll be better when he comes back. Yeah, but it's just tough. Sometimes things are just tough, and this is one of those things. It's tough.
I know he's a guy that you talked about way back in preseason.
Yep.
Just working hard and.
Yep. He was making strides every day, and then every time we put him in there, he just keeps opening my eyes bigger and bigger. I mean, we were moving people around and moving him around, trying to find ways to get him in there. He was doing so good. I mean, he was definitely, ready to play right now. So it's tough. And
you talked about him. You were really excited about him as a running back.
Yep. He was one that we felt like could come in and maybe give us some speed back there and catch the ball in the backfield. He just did some really good things in JV with the ball, especially, and we were just excited about what he could do. He's an athlete. He can play anywhere. So,
of course, his brother Cody was a good football player.
He was really good.
Tyler's a little faster. Cody won't like me saying that. But he'd have to admit it because Tyler's very quick. We pray that he's going to be able to bounce back and. So if you've got his number, shoot him a text and let's lift Tyler's spirits up. We really hate this to lose him for the whole year.
Yeah, it's tough.
With that being said, you've got to have somebody step up and fill that role. What are some of these roles? As we said, you still have some sickness and some injuries you're dealing with. You're not sure at this point whether those guys will be on the field this week. So who's that next man up, like you're talking? Who's some guys we might see this week be impact players?
Honestly, the one that stands out is Levi Piper, who we already talked about. He kind of fits that role of the running back situation that we were already already talking about. And then Tyler played a lot of special teams, recovered the onside kick the other night. So we'll have to figure out those things too. And in all honesty, a lot of places it just makes us not as deep at right now until we figure it out. We'd have to have older guys, pull double duty on special teams and things like that, where we had him that could, for sure give us a quality player on those special teams. So I don't know exactly. There's a lot of young guys that are right there, but we just got to see. We got to continue to see if they're ready for a Friday night.
And this would be a tough one to get somebody ready.
Yeah, it would be. Yep. It would. Your first Friday night against a big, strong school. Yep, on the road. Yep, it would be.
Are there any upperclassmen that could crack in and maybe fill a different role this week because of some of the situations you're in?
I don't think that we haven't talked about really. No, I really don't. Like Bryson Baker possibly at playing some DB because Tyler Belt is also our second safety there, and we would like to rotate guys and things like that. So we lost a rotation guy that we were planning on playing a lot on defense this year. So Bryson might be one that has to change in on defense for sure. And then the others we talked about running back with Morrison and Nesbitt, and have to get them some carries back there.
Bryson's a guy who caught a couple of extra point passes last week, but other than that, really wasn't involved in the offense a lot. And he's a guy who can create some mismatches for you.
Yeah, I believe he caught one screen outside of those two passes on the 2-point conversion. But you can just see it; it's there that he can do it. He can go up and get the ball. He's big when he catches on those screens. He's hard to bring down. So, yeah, he's somebody that I expect to come out of his shell and start making a whole lot of plays.
He looks good.
Yep.
I saw him today with Dylan Yates and Micah and some of the guys. They were out at the gym and Trace Darrington.
Yeah,
so they're working, coach.
Yeah.
Even though they're not in school, I think they said they were co-op students. So I know you sent out a text today to tell everybody to do their homework. Make sure to get their schoolwork.
That was their homework.
Yeah. Well, I think they finished their homework early and gone to the gym. Yeah. But that's a good place to go when you get your homework.
It is. One thing I tell you about these kids, they're hard-working kids, and they understand that they're doubted a little bit, and I think they've been feeding off of it all year. And missing those days, I think they've came back more hungry. We've had a great week of practice. I always check to see how much huddle they're watching every year. I just see, and honestly, it's one of my biggest tellers of who's going to have a good game or who's ready to play. The guys, Ben Dobbins was one that always led us in film time, and he always knew. I knew he was ready to play that first game because he had watched 5 hours of film that week. He knew everything that was going on. And this year, there is so much film, so much more film being watched than has ever been watched before.
For some of the old timers, the guys that may be watching, Huddle is the
how
name
we
of
watch film.
Software.
Yes,
it's the software.
Yes.
It's an application. The kids have it on their phones.
Yep, phones.
And
laptops.
you break all that down and send them certain plays that they're involved in, and you can draw on your screen, and it's unbelievable.
It's our film, it's our playbook, it's our scouting report, it's everything in one thing. They just have access to it right there.
It's not like you guys on Mondays would go in and watch the reel-to-reel film back years ago. This is high-tech stuff nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I know at one time you were getting that on the sideline. Are you still getting that on the sideline?
Yeah, we can. Yep. We have that
up.
whole sideline camera. Yep, we have it right there on the iPad. So as soon as the play ends, we can go back and watch it right there. It's big for us. You get to see that view. It's a lot easier to see. It used to you'd come in on Saturday or Sunday and watch film like, dang, I really wish I would have seen that. But right now, you can see it right away and make adjustments off of it.
Just in real time. It's incredible. It's like the NFL teams had many years ago,
right?
But now it's filtered down, and high school. It's technology's changed. It's become accessible and affordable, but it's still a pretty expensive system.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment and recognize some more of our partners, and we've got a new one this week, Colonel Ag Repair. That's Corey and Derek Colonel. So if you have a tractor or combine, coach, I don't know if you have any of that
Not
stuff,
yet.
but I think they're pretty good. YTG Insurance. That's one of your guys on the sideline.
Absolutely.
Tanner Tabor.
Yeah.
Shara on the New York Stock Exchange. Another one of your guys, Nathan Boone.
Yep.
Mike and Stoner's Barbershop, and Marion Eye Care Center, Dr. Adria Porter. Coach, this game this week, last week we were able to show it live on Facebook and YouTube. The Creighton Press did because our NFHS camera was down. So Madisonville is an NFHS network team, so that game will be on the NFHS network. We can't broadcast it over the free airwaves, so you have to have a subscription. You can grab that online. If you want to get the whole season, that'll give you, from now on, you can get all the Rocket basketball as well. I think it's about $69 for a whole year. But if you want a week, I believe it's only like $12. The price of a couple of tickets.
Yep.
You sitting at home and throw it up on the big screen because it's pretty fun.
It's pretty cool
I've done
too.
it. Yeah, I've done that. Let's talk about this week. Who needs to click individually, or maybe it's a unit. Maybe it's a couple of guys on one side of the line. What are you looking for this week that maybe could turn the tide against Madisonville for us?
Defensively, what I'm looking to see is linebackers have been the question for everybody, and this will be a true test to them. They're going to come downhill, play right at us. It's not going to be last week where the defensive line's making every play. They're going to have to play. They're going to stick their nose in there and get physical. So for me, that's what I'm excited about and anxious to see. Because a lot of those questions that we had earlier, we still have, in my opinion. We just got to see, and this will be the first test, I think, where we'll be able to see really what we're made of, especially at the linebacker position.
Mm-hmm. And who are those guys? Talk about who they are.
That's Luke Mundy, that's Zach McGahan, that's Briley Berry, and that's Coleman Stone. All four of them, and they did a great job. But it's still they just have something to prove. They just do.
Zach McGahan is another one of the guys I saw at the gym today. He's gotten bigger over the offseason.
He's changed.
His body's changed a lot.
Impressive kid too. Who's not had much playing time going in, and just stuck with it. Ends up with a offer he's had it, I believe. He's the one that's had it, but still, it's just a testament to somebody that loves the game, that does things the right way. Keep working hard. Don't quit when it gets hard, and then he's set up to have a good senior year and a chance to go play college football now. Sure. Somebody that hadn't even got to play. So
the coach was from school in Illinois, and he was down at the game last week, and afterwards he brought up Dylan Yates and Luke Kreider and Zach McGahan were all handed envelopes. I think he had been talking to them and made official offers. So that's pretty
It was cool, yeah. It's good for coaches to come down here and see this. It doesn't happen a whole lot. I know they're busy and had their season too, so it was good for one of them to come down there. It shows that they really like him because he could have been a lot of places.
Sure.
He has all Western Kentucky, and he chose to come see those guys. So,
who else? So we obviously have to be pretty good up front.
We definitely have to be good up front. Honestly, I expect a lot out of that group, and I think that they will be. I would like to see. I thought last week that we just weren't as clean offense. Maybe dropped some balls, maybe missed some. I think Luke being out, maybe it took him a second to get going because that's his first live action with those guys, and had some different guys in different spots. So I think that the quarterback and receiver, duo will have to be clicking. I believe so. That would be the one thing that I'd want to see. Just to play clean, be able to make the easy plays, not make the easy completions, all those things.
Well, we can't throw it around much more we did in the first half last week. If we do that this week and have that kind of success, if Luke throws for 250 yards again, you'd take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think
we'd be in good shape.
Yeah, I think we could handle that.
Yeah. All right, well, the Maroons, Madisonville, 4A school, will host the Rockets this week. They hadn't won a home game since 2019. So Rockets have their work cut out for them, Coach Courtney. And we get a win over there this week, be a nice feather in our cap. And that'll run our RPI up just a little bit, too, when you beat a bigger school. Yeah,
it'll help us. This is a big game for us. It really is. Set the tone for the year, I believe. This is a big one.
Big game right off the bat here in the 2021 season. All right, Coach Courtney, good luck. Stay COVID-free. You and all your guys.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.